Yo, what's up guys, welcome back. So, finally, Spellbooks. We got a structure deck, Spellbook, or the Prophecy structure deck here in Master Duel. It's very cheap, I guess, only 500 gems per structure deck, a couple of ultra rares. But I think the most important ones are Blue Boy and Spellbook of Secrets, I guess. And yeah, Spellbook of Judgment, as you know, is back at 1. It's already at 1 in the OCG, but it's currently banned in the TCG, but it's probably going to get unbanned on our next TCG ban list as well. So, I, started off with the 3 structure decks, made some changes, and going for a purely control-based build, obviously with Yugioh. There's sadly only one Spellbook of Judgment. You're always aiming towards that as soon as possible. It's a kind of very similar deck to the Spellbook, or at least the Judgment Spellbooks we had in a TCG back in 2013, so that's almost 10 years ago. Going for secrets first and then activating as many spells as possible. As you saw in the finalized build, I guess, in this particular build I was running the Spellbook that reveals 3, I can't remember the name, it reveals 3 to your opponent, and your opponent at randomly picks 1 and adds it to the hand, or at least to your hand. It's fine, it's okay, but if you want to use that Spellbook card, you first of all can't have any Spellbooks, I guess, in your graveyard, plus you can't activate spells that are not Spellbooks for the rest of the turn, so that means no Terraforming, no Upstart, no Desires, which I eventually added in no Call By, which is fine, I guess, but I mean, Desires, Terraforming, and one of the most important floodgates of the deck, which is next to Yugioh. It's the spell field spell. You know which one I mean, that as soon as you control a spellcaster monster, your opponent can't use any spell cards. So that's just an extra protection for Yugioh, because that means no Dark Ruler, no Droplet, right? That leaves your opponent with basically only impermanence to kind of shut down Yugioh. Again, no Vortex, no Lightning Storm, no Duster or whatever, no Cyclone, as soon as you have your Hidden Village or Secret Village on your side of the field. I think it's just fine as a 2-off. You don't want to open with multiples. It's also searchable off of Terraforming. So I guess it's very similar to like Sky Striker strategy. Multiple spells off to turn on your engage. And that's why Double Star Hall is there. The 2 face-up continuous spells that every time you activate a spell, you'll get like a spell counter on them, on both of them, and they'll gain your spellcasters, or at least your spellcasters on the field will gain attack equal to those counters, right? So that's cool. So that's 6 and 2, so that's 800 extra boost for every, at least for every spellcaster, right? So Yugioh and Blue Boy, basically. Totally awesome, could definitely be in the extra deck as well, with the Dogmatica Trap. You can send your Toad, for example, to the graveyard, and then Toad gets back a water type. And, Blue Boy, your Spellbook Magician of Prophecy, is a water type, so that's, that's cool. But the Dodefon, it's an ultra rare. So it's not really needed, but, I mean, if you have it, you can definitely splash it in there. And then you turn yourself into a control-based deck, sitting on Yugioh. Obviously, this deck, I mean, the deck has a couple of advantages. Going first, it's incredible to not let your opponent playing the game, or play the game, to put up Yugioh with Village or without Village, and Yugioh plus Protection is very solid. Your opponent needs to have like Lightning Storm plus Follow Up, and they cannot special summon because again Yugioh is there. You could opt to main deck more towards Yugioh control, that's maybe 2 or maybe 3 Yugioh, and then I forgot the name. It's an equip spell, or at least it's an equip spell that you could equip to Yugioh, for example, and then, it will gain attack equal to like the opponent's attacking monster. It will also gain, at least it's very hard to get rid of your field if that's on the field, right? Well, and that's the thing, this format is best of 1, and in Master Duel you might see more players main decking Lightning Storm, Duster obviously, Dark Ruler, and that's back when I tried out Spellbooks a couple of years ago, 1 or 2 years ago. It's hard, in the TCG we don't run that. Now it's a bit different with Sprite and Tier Element, but back then, when the build should be up on YouTube as well. you know, it's very, I will link it. It's very heavily focused on control. Like this, even more, without desires. I like desires, even though you're banishing like a fourth of your deck. But the thing is that Spellbook of Judgment or Judgment Spellbooks was like one of the best decks back in 2013. And back then you had the draw first. If you went first, you drew the card or a card from your deck. So you technically had 6 cards to work with, and that 6th card, that could potentially be an extra spell. So I still prefer Desires, even though it's quite dangerous, but I guess you're running more spellbook targets. Power should probably also be a 2-off if you're main decking Desires. Again, it's an extra spell book, well, at least it's an extra spell for Judgment Spellbook, Spellbook of Judgment, you know. Plus, it could potentially lead to more spells or defense, right? You need Solemn, you need the Dogmatica Trap or Fate, for example, to protect your Yugioh. There is some, you know, some small room for decks. Hand traps, I don't know. Maybe you could definitely go over, because again, this is best of one. It's completely different compared to our TCG, you know, with side deck. So normally in a TCG you would side deck stuff like Dark Ruler, Lightning Storm if you're going second, Nibiru as well. But again, in best of one, you can't do that. So I guess you could maybe, let's say, if you're going second, maybe go for Dark Ruler or maybe Nibiru or some Maxi maybe, because you know, technically that could stop the, you know, the combo player from, you know, eventually establishing his board. So maybe Maxi. Talking about hand traps, I'm very low on cards in my deck. The Star Hall also only has 7 counters, so that's a boost of 700 attack, which is okay, I guess. But again, I'm really low on you know, cards in my deck, so I'm constantly battling it out against deck out, and I kind of sacrifice my my village, right? I mean, with Double Judgment, you can definitely go for that, right? For something like Storm, Storm is fine because I again have those Double Judgment, and that's why the Dogmatica Trap is so powerful, so flexible. Getting rid of the Ash Blossom, which has a high amount of defense, but here in this case, I think you get a point with Spellbooks, and who knows, in the future we might get more Spellbook of Judgment at 2, maybe at 3. And this deck is actually really annoying. If you lose it to the coin toss and go second against this, it's not fun. Not fun to play against. Yugioh just says no against everything, backed up with, you know, Wisdom, Fate, Solemn Judgment, Dogmatica Spell. And there's definitely, you know, more room for improvement, so feel free to leave suggestions, like always. Okay, guys, that's it. Thanks for watching. Feel free to leave a comment or like. If you enjoyed the video, Riddim signing out. Peace.